The Fortnite Island map has come a very long way over the course of the last 8 seasons of Battle Royale, and well, let's be honest, it still has a lot of life left in it. Looking forward though, disaster is imminent. We currently have a volcano on the island ripe for eruption, and any day now, the volcano could end up spewing lava all over some of the island's most important points of interest. But until that day comes, all we can do really is just sit back and take a trip down memory lane and revisit the maps of the past as we break down the evolution of the Fortnite Island over the previous 8 seasons, and also look ahead to see what's in store for the Season 9 map update. What's up guys, and welcome back to the Simply Fortnite channel, and thanks for stopping by. If you are new here, feel free to subscribe with your post notifications turned on, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like on it. Now without further ado, let's take a look at the evolution of the Fortnite Island map. Its origins started simple and smooth. The island was relatively bare back in Season 1, and not nearly as complex and cluttered as it is today. Also, there was a whole lot less danger on the island back then, as there were only 13 named points of interest on the island, that being Pleasant Park, Greasy Grove, Loot Lake, Flush Factory, Anarchy Acres, Tomato Town, Dusty Depot, Salty Springs, Fatal Fields, Moisty Mire, Retail Row, Lonely Lodge, and finally Wailing Woods. Now, of these original 13 named locations, oddly enough, only 4 of them are still fully intact and fully accessible in Pleasant Park, Salty Springs, Retail Row, and Lonely Lodge. And 3 of those 13 are actually somewhat intact, that being Loot Lake, Dusty Depot, and Tomato Town or Tomato Temple. I suppose you could also include Greasy Grove on that list as well, since you can kinda still access it, but primarily there's really only a few locations that have remained on the island over the course of our previous 8 seasons. Moving on to Season 2, this is where things really begin to heat up and get a little bit more cluttered as well, as the first big map update came to the game during Season 2 and introduced Junk Junction, Haunted Hills, Snobby Shores, Tilted Towers, and Shifty Shafts, and then a little bit later on and down the road, we also saw the addition of Lucky Landing added into the mix as well. Now, out of all of the updates that the Fortnite Island has ever seen, this specific map update was by far one of the most impactful, as it added in Tilted Towers like I mentioned, which to this day is still the most popular place to land on the entire map. Despite its existence being threatened multiple times by a handful of events that we'll mention later on in this video, Tilted Towers has somehow overcome all of the odds and still stands tall on the island to this very day. The next major Fortnite Island map update came when a meteor struck the island in the intro cinematic of Season 4. This map update destroyed a handful of locations on the map that were unnamed, but most notably, Dusty Depot was replaced by Dusty Divot, a massive crater that also still stands, or sits, or lies, or whatever the proper term is, on the map to this very day. Alongside the addition of Dusty Divot, we also saw Risky Reels introduced to the island in the top right corner of the map just north of Wailing Woods, and on top of all of that, this map update also sparked the start of something that I think is one of the coolest things we've ever seen in Fortnite history, that being weekly and or bi-weekly map updates and progression, as the various crash sites of the various meteors ended up evolving and changing on a constant basis all throughout the season, and quite honestly, like I said, it was one of the coolest things to witness, as every single week when you logged on with a new update, it seemed like the map had changed in some minor way. This map update also introduced some smaller things to the map, such as the Hop Rock consumable items, and also the villain and hero bases outside of Snobby Shores and Lonely Lodge. Lastly, this map update would also unleash the first ever live one-time event in the rocket launch, which just so happened to take place at the previously mentioned villain base outside of Snobby Shores. Continuing on to Season 5, this specific map update was probably one of the largest in terms of overall productivity, as it brought to the game the desert biome in the bottom right-hand corner, which happened to replace Moisty Mire at the time, adding in a finished Gus racetrack and also the second major city on the Fortnite Island with Paradise Palms. This map update also added Lazy Links to the northern center area of the island, replacing Anarchy Acres, and the Viking Village on top of the mountain just southeast of Snobby Shores also debuted with this update as well. As I mentioned, the Season 5 update was one of the most productive in terms of new additions, as the Desert Biome update was the single largest change that the Fortnite Island had ever seen at that time. And then we get into Season 6 of Fortnite Battle Royale, where once again the map evolved over the course of the entire season thanks to one Kevin the Cube spawning in during Season 5, who then rolled around the map smashing and crushing everything in his path, all while leaving some mysterious rune symbols behind on the ground. Now, these rune symbols would actually come to life with the launch of Season 6 and then become the corrupted rune areas, with 7 of them spanning all across the island, including inside of Wailing Woods, south of Lazy Links, southwest of Pleasant Park, west of Shifty Shafts, southwest of Dusty Depot, south of Salty Springs, and also south of Retail Row. Alongside that, Loot Lake was also drastically changed as Kevin the Cube turned from a cube to a cube island as he busted the middle island of Loot Lake open and then lifted all the parts of it into the air via a tornado-like vortex, which would then further corrupt each rune area over the course of the season. But as far as physical changes to the map goes, outside of the Kevin the Cube storyline and then the Kevin the Cube Island storyline, not really a whole lot happened with the launch of Season 6, as Tomato Temple was really the only major change that happened there, and throughout the entirety of the season, not a whole lot actually happened on the map itself. But then we get to Season 7, where the map would drastically change once again, thanks to the iceberg collision, which created the iceberg biome that would completely revamp the southwestern area of the island. Polar Peak, Happy Hamlet, and also Frosty Flights were all added to the map with this update, and Greasy Grove and Flush Factory were actually removed from the map, although tiny bits and pieces of each of those locations are still accessible, as we do have the frozen lake outside of Polar Peak, which you can actually break into small different buildings in Greasy Grove from there, and also you can get into the original Flush Factory just outside of Happy Hamlet as well. So technically those locations are gone, but bits and pieces of them do remain here on the map for now at least. Anyways, as we progressed further into Season 7, we'd also see the addition of the block point of interest, which would actually replace Risky Reels to many fans' dismay, and then later on when Season 8 actually launched, the block was then moved to replace the Motel Unnamed point of interest due to the massive volcano that was added to the map alongside Sunny Steps and also Lazy Lagoon, and then of course Risky Reels was put back as well, probably due to fans outraged at the fact that the block replaced it. I don't know why Risky Reels was such a beloved location, but people were not happy when it disappeared, and I am glad to see it back, I'm not gonna lie. Tomato Temple was also effectively removed as a named location, however it does still exist to a certain extent, just like Greasy Grove and Flush Factory do, and also Wailing Woods was completely replaced by the Jungle Biome with the Season 8 map update as well. Now, looking forward to Season 9, what could happen to the Fortnite Island map? My theory is that we're going to get a 4th new biome in the top left-hand corner of the map that ends up replacing Junk Junction, Haunted Hills, and maybe even Pleasant Park. If you take a look at the pattern that the map changes are following, it started with the bottom right-hand corner of the map being changed, and then the bottom left-hand corner, and then the top right-hand corner, and now all that's left is the top left-hand corner, which, let's be honest, is a pretty stale place to drop because not a whole lot is going on in Junk Junction or Haunted Hills, let's be real. Outside of that though, like I mentioned at the start of the video, we still have a handful of locations on the map that have been there for the entirety of the Fortnite Island's lifespan. Salty Springs, Retail Row, Pleasant Park, and Lonely Lodge have all been on the map since the get-go, and with that I'd say out of all of the named locations on the map right now outside of Junk Junction and Haunted Hills, those 4 points of interest are the most likely to experience some sort of change with Season 9, at least in my own opinion. You can be the first person to watch, like, and comment on each and every new post. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll see you guys on the battle bus. Peace out. There is also the option that the volcano ends up erupting, and if and when that event does happen, that is also going to change the map in some major ways. I mean, it could be a small eruption in just some small areas outside of the volcano like Lonely Lodge and Tomato Temple end up getting ruined, or it could be a massive eruption and places all across the map like Tilted Towers and Retail Row could end up getting destroyed. You never know, and it's just something we'll have to wait and see about. With that being said though, that does effectively wrap things up for today. Be sure to let us know down in the comments below what your all-time favorite point of interest on the Fortnite Island actually is. Of course, if you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like on it and give it a big old thumbs up, as it is much appreciated. And if you are brand new here to the Simply Fortnite channel, feel free to go ahead and subscribe with your post notifications turned on, that way you'll never miss another upload. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll see you guys on the battle bus. Peace out.